To deal with the beast outside, he pulled a machine gun from the crate, racked it to check the ammo, opened the rear door of the train car, then quickly moved aside. Once the aircraft paused its firing, Oakes launched his counterattack. He fired non-stop at the plane. Under his relentless barrage, the aircraft caught fire and plunged straight into the sea. It turned out that during a previous mission, Oakes had taken a bullet through the neck and fallen into the Buriganga River, which connects to the Ganges. Luckily, when his teammates found him, he was still breathing. After months of emergency treatment, he miraculously survived. Oakes thought it was time to retire, but one day an uninvited guest showed up, insisting he return to the field. Oakes originally meant to scare Mark off, but the moment Mark mentioned the client was his ex-wife, he lost his composure. It turned out his ex-wife's younger sister, Leah, and her 2 kids had been locked up in a Georgian prison by her husband, Mason, who had also been abusing her for years. Mark explained that Mason was no ordinary man. Together with his older brother, Logan, he had built a crime empire called Nagazi, running billions of dollars in heroin and weapons, with every politician in Georgia on their payroll. After an American DEA agent died at Mason's hands, the U.S. applied pressure. To save face, the local government tossed Mason into prison. As a result, Leah and her 2 kids were forcibly taken into the prison to live with him. Desperate to escape the monster, Leah begged her sister to find help, and that led her to Mark. That night, Oakes' team drove into Georgia. The prison guards, already bribed, shut off all surveillance and opened the gates, then cut the power after the team's car entered. Soon, Oakes slipped into the prison alone with a semi-automatic rifle. The corrupt guards had already marked the route to Leah's cell with fluorescent lines on the walls. Oakes reached the 3rd floor using the markings, but heard guards approaching. He hid behind a door. It was so dark that the passing guards didn't even notice the rifle barrel sticking out. He reached cell 207. Leah was awake. When she saw Oakes, she quickly woke her 2 kids. Since she hadn't warned them beforehand, her older son's first reaction when he heard they were escaping was to call for his father. To keep him quiet, she lied and said his father was waiting outside. On their way back, the little girl dropped her toy, and it let out a loud screech. Oakes quickly stomped it to silence it, but the noise woke other prisoners. Realizing things were about to go bad, he rushed them forward, yet one of the prisoners blew a whistle to alert the others. The noise stirred up the whole cell block, drawing a swarm of guards. Wanting to avoid a direct fight, Oakes pried open a door at the end of the hall, only to discover dozens of inmates inside. He tried to scare them off with his rifle, but they weren't intimidated. Some even tried to grab the gun. Once one made a move, others followed. At close range, the long gun was useless, so Oakes switched to a handgun and finally forced them back. He loaded an explosive round and hurried the family out. Following his team's directions through his earpiece, Oakes reached the boiler room in the basement. He planned to get them out through a small coal transport tunnel, but just as he handed the 2 kids up to his teammates, Mason arrived, swinging an axe wildly at Oakes. Leah grabbed Mason from behind, trying to stop him, but he knocked her to the ground instantly. Oakes disarmed him, slamming the axe away, then pressed Mason's face against the scorching boiler. He tore open Mason's palm with his bare hands, then drove a knife straight into his carotid artery.